Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes to make sure that everyone has enough chance to join, and then we'll kick off. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, The Hidden Cost of Manual Processes in the Automotive Aftermarket, where we'll be talking about our warehousing apps, which link in seamlessly with Autopart. So just introducing our speakers today, we will have Ben Nichols joining us. He is the Head of Account Management for the automotive team and knows everything there is to know about Autopart and how our warehousing apps synchronize with the Autopart system. We also have Ash Parker, our solutions consultant, joining us, who will take us through a demo of the warehousing apps. And finally, myself as the proposition manager for our warehousing apps. So just as a bit of an introduction, we do find that a lot of Autopart customers are still relying on paper for key processes across their business. So that includes things like stock takes, receiving in goods, and inventory management. And while that might seem quite manageable, it can introduce quite a few problems. So it does tend to slow everything down within your business because obviously when those processes are manual, they become disconnected from your system. It does tend to create errors as well because you have your team writing things down and re-entering data later. So there is a good, opportunity for things to be entered incorrectly, and it does slow down everything. And it also does lead to poor visibility as well because it means that your Autopart system is always behind what's actually happening within your business. So obviously that can have a commercial impact because you don't have accurate stock levels recorded in Autopart. You have the potential to lose sales. You have higher labor costs as well because processes are taking longer. It takes longer to upskill your team as well because you probably have one expert within the business who everyone relies on. And then you also get rework and inefficiencies that will sort of eat into your margins. So I think it is really important to recognize that there is really a hidden cost when it comes to paper-based processes within your business and why it is important to think about how you can digitize those processes. Obviously, first, there's quite a few considerations when it comes to sort of transforming your business and getting ready for that. So we would suggest a bit of a 5-step process. So beginning with reviewing your current workflows to identify where you do have those manual paper-heavy tasks. So particularly in goods receiving and inventory management, obviously there can be pick notes and paper notes involved with that. And obviously within the automotive aftermarket, You'll have thousands of different parts and items and components which are handled daily. And obviously, if you're relying on paper-based processes, that's going to lead to errors and delays, and ultimately it's going to be quite inefficient. Secondly, we would say look at identifying how your existing system, so Autopart in this case, can be connected to more of a centralized platform. So you have a bit more real-time visibility across your inventory, across your warehousing. So I would say that, we see a lot of businesses, 2/3 of them, in fact, are still relying on manual methods and spreadsheets for day-to-day warehousing. Obviously, that is just not efficient and it's going to introduce problems. And it means that there's no room for your business to ultimately grow as well because you have to keep on scaling your sort of paper-based processes along with what else you're doing within the business. The third step is to look at how you can digitize. So obviously, we're talking about the apps today. You need to start thinking about how you might be able to replace paper and manual data entry. And we do have a suite of mobile enabled digital tools for receiving stock management and inventory checks. So that digitization will allow your business to kind of streamline those operations. It obviously reduces the chance of human error, and it does improve traceability as well. So obviously, when you've got very complex inventories, that's really important. The fourth point of transforming your business is looking at training. So, as I said, if you've got one expert within your business who knows all the processes, exactly where everything is, it's going to make it very difficult to kind of upskill your team. What they need are tools which are intuitive and easy to use and don't require a huge amount of training. Obviously, this is a sector where product knowledge is really key. Staff turnover can be quite high as well. So making sure that these solutions are user-friendly helps sort of maintain that consistency and productivity across your team. Lastly, we come to optimizing. So obviously, once you have that real-time data, you can use that to monitor your operation. You can start identifying where there are bottlenecks, and you can also refine those workflows and processes to improve them. So ultimately, that leads to improved inventory accuracy, better customer service, and faster processing. I'm now going to pass over to Ben Nichols, who's going to take us through the warehousing app ecosystem and how it all connects seamlessly with Autopart. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Lydia. At a high level, our apps are designed to digitize core warehouse processes. Everybody uses these processes to different degrees, and there's something for everyone here. Bringing this solution set to Autopart customers has been led from feedback from the industry and our customers themselves. There's a common goal for everyone to be more efficient, more accurate, and use modern tools to achieve these processes. So whether it's booking goods in, carrying out stock checks, managing inventory, all of this can be done directly on a handheld mobile warehousing device. The key point is everything integrates directly and seamlessly to Autopart. The data that you import is synced in real time. There's no lag. These changes can be seen in the Autopart system in real time. There's no duplication. You don't have to go manually fill in sheets or forms after the job is completed. It means that you're removing paperwork, reducing admin, and making what's operationally a process much more smooth and reflected in the system seamlessly. The outcomes: faster, more efficient, fewer errors, and visibility across the whole business, while people carry on doing what they do today in a new way.
Thank you, Ben. I think it's really clear what the benefits are of our warehousing apps for Autopart. And I'm now going to pass over to Ash Parker, our solutions consultant, who's going to take us through a demo of all three of the apps. Thanks, Ash.
When we open the eReceipts app, we're given the option to receive the purchase order or to mark the purchase order as on-site. To mark the order as on-site, we start by scanning or typing in our purchase order number. We will then see an overview of the order. So we can see the order number and the supplier. If we select this order, we can then mark it as on-site. To receive the purchase order, again, we are going to scan or type in our purchase order number. And we will now see a full list of everything that is outstanding on the purchase order. We can either scan the products or we can manually type in. We can also tap on the item and use the plus or minus to add the products to the list. Once we are happy that we have checked in everything that has been received, we can now complete the session. When we open our eStockCheck app, we will see a list of all the outstanding StockCheck pages. We select the page and we will see how many products are waiting to be counted. When we tap on this list, we can now see everything that is waiting to be counted. So we can start working from the top. We can either tap on the product and we can use the plus or minus keys to add the products in. Or we can simply start by scanning the products. Now, because I've scanned a product that is out of sequence, we have had a warning. But you can see now we have received a tick and we are now showing 1 of 6 on this product. So as we keep scanning, the quantity will keep going up. If we scan a product that is not on the list, we will receive a warning and we can add it to the list. So once we have worked our way down all of the stock check list, we can then complete the count. Once the count has been completed, you can then confirm it within Autopart and finalize it using your normal processes. When you open the eWarehouse app, you're given a few options. So starting from the top, we can do a stock adjustment. So we can either scan or we can type in the product code. And we can now see we've got the product and the quantity we should have in stock. When we tap on the product, we are now able to either scan or type in the new stock quantity. We then ask for a reason for the stock adjustment, and then it is saved and it updates your stock. We can also add a barcode for a product. We start by scanning our new barcode. And now we can either type or scan a barcode for the product we need to allocate this to. We are given the option to put a quantity against this. So if it is an external box of products, we can say this barcode is 10 of these. When we're finished, that will now update the new barcode. To verify our invoices, we can start by either typing or scanning the barcode for our invoice numbers. And we're also able to verify multiple invoices at the same time. So if I scan my second invoice, we can now see we have 2 orders waiting to be verified. Once I start the verification, we will have a list of all of the products that's awaiting to be checked off. So I can start by scanning or tapping on these products to confirm that they are actually there and ready to go out. If I tap on these, I can type in the quantity and then tick this to confirm the amount I have. Once this is complete, we will then complete the verification and that order is ready to go out.
Thank you, Ash, for taking us through the demo of all 3 apps. I'll pass back now to Ben for just going through what considerations our Autopart customers should have if they do want to implement our warehousing apps in their system.
Thanks again, Lydia. Digitizing these processes via people. So people won't be replaced in this process. We're digitizing and making these processes more efficient via people. And there's certainly a people onboarding journey to go through here. We provide full training on the apps, and the apps are incredibly self-explanatory and intuitive, but there is a people process here. Quite obviously, the whole building needs to be covered in Wi-Fi coverage wherever you may want or need to scan an item, to receive, to stock check, to pick, pack, or dispatch, whatever the use case might be. We need a Wi-Fi signal around there. So Wi-Fi hotspots throughout the building become important. Hardware is a consideration here. There's varying levels of hardware in the market to achieve this on. At the base of this, anything Android with a currently supported operating system is fine, but you may want to choose something more ruggedized and more robust, such as the Zebra MC series. Or for a smaller business with smaller requirements for this process, you might just want some of the smaller devices. And Zebra also do a small TC series thing. Essentially, any Android device fit for the workplace fits the apps. There are a few Autopart system measures to go through as well here. So no longer selling into negative stock is a key principle of the warehouse apps. Adopting a better process for back orders, because back orders give many other advantages from an Autopart perspective, like self-fulfilling them on goods receiving and so on. But you must move into a back order situation rather than selling into negative stock. There's also the conversion requirement for virtual branches. If you have stock holding branches that are not physical locations set up in Autopart, these will need to be converted to a little extra work.
Okay, we're just going to take it over now to the Q&A section and see if we've got any questions. Okay, we do have one. So someone has asked, do I need to take on all three apps or can I just use one of them? Ben, could you answer that one?
Yeah, no worries. No, you don't have to take all the apps. This is very much a pick and mix situation. You could pick the right solution for your business. If you only want to pick up one of those digitization process and build into the next one and the one thereafter, that's fine. They are designed to work together and they're complementary. And we are bundling together some apps at a certain price point on an offer. However, you can pick them up individually if that's the way that it suits from a rollout point of view.
Perfect. Absolutely. We've got a few other questions as well. So obviously, Ben, you've gone through a couple of sort of points around what processes you might need to adopt. Someone says, what other processes do I need to look at before potentially getting the apps?
I think this one depends on the business. It depends very much on the people in the business and the way the business currently works and the assessment of how that fits into the app suite. There might need to be some physical moves. You might decide to slightly shift around where booking in is physically because that's where the Wi-Fi spot is and you're only going to use e-receipts. That's okay. Or you might need to move the Wi-Fi spot to where the booking in zone is, vice versa. I think there are some considerations to be made, but we'll definitely talk through those. We'll sit down one on one and we'll figure out how this fits and molds into the business and where it can be of the maximum impact for you.
Absolutely. And I think that actually leads on quite nicely to our next question we've got. Someone said, I've got a small business. Would these apps be suitable for me?
Oh, I think I'd challenge that in reverse, Lydia. Why not? I think everybody's looking for efficiency. Everybody's looking for digitizing these kind of processes. Incremental gains and making a difference in a small business is arguably more powerful than a middle-sized business or a large business. It's very much for everyone, I think, and I think a lot of people think this way. We're getting a lot of questions come to us in this direction around all sides of business wanting to do this. Now, might only pick up e-stock check, and that's fine. Having stock accuracy, relying on things that are in the building, being in the building is maybe the only thing required in that scenario. Maybe combining that with goods receiving, and because the priority is the stock valuation, maybe that's the priority there. So I think those same questions are unilateral across all sizes of business, and I wouldn't rule this out on business size, and just advise anybody to talk to us and let's see what we can work out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like Ben said, no matter the size of your business, efficiency is still really important. I'm just having a look through now. We've just got one last question. Someone's asked, what is invoice verification? Is that picking?
Yeah, good question. No, not quite is the answer. Picking's a very involved process. We certainly do have ePick as a component in this ecosystem that we've not really covered here. Invoice verifications are much lighter touch, whereas picking, you'll be verifying the location, you'll be verifying the product, the quantity of that, all via barcode. Invoice verification is simply scanning the invoice and physically scanning the goods against the invoice to verify that the right things are being dispatched at the dispatch point. So what you lose is you lose metrics over pick efficiency, who picked it, how long it took, whether that's right on point. But if they're not the priority and just getting the right things out the door for the right invoice in the right box, then invoice verification steps into a smaller solution, but equals the effective in a little different setting.
Perfect. Well, I think that is all the questions that we have. If you do have any questions that you think of after the webinar, you can always reach out to your account manager. We will be sending around a recording of the webinar as well. And if you do want to learn more or book a demo, as I said, reach out to your account manager and we can organize that and talk through exactly how these apps could be implemented as part of your business processes and what that would look like for you, no matter the size of your business. I just want to thank everyone for joining us today, and thank you, Ben and Ash, as well, for taking us through the apps. We'll see you next time. Thank you.